Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to getting up to speed on the biggest transformations happening right now. Today, we're plunging into, well, a world you might think of as pretty traditional, farming, but it's actually going through this radical digital revolution, global digital farming. That's our focus. And our insights, they're coming straight from the latest numbers, the projections from Cognitive Market Research, specifically their big report, Global Digital Farming Market Forecast 2021-2033, exclusive figures. So our mission today is basically to pull out the key takeaways from this. We want to understand the, frankly, astonishing growth projected and, what's actually driving this huge shift in how we grow food globally. Okay, let's get into it.
Yeah, it's almost hard to overstate the scale here. We're really talking about redefining something as fundamental as how we produce food on a global level. It's not just like a minor update. It's a whole new paradigm for one of our most essential industries.
And the scale, the numbers themselves are pretty staggering. We're looking at global sales revenue jumping from, about $23.7 billion in 2021?
Yeah, around there.
All the way up to potentially $103.4 billion by 2033. That's huge.
It really is.
That implies a compound annual growth rate, the CAGR, of 13.064%. Pretty robust.
Very robust. And what's fascinating, I think, about these numbers is they just clearly signal a sector that's absolutely booming. It's becoming indispensable, really. It shows this accelerating shift towards digital solutions because, well, farmers are facing immense pressure, right? More food needed, resource efficiency is critical, climate change, all of it.
Right. So what's actually fueling it? What are the engines behind this massive shift? This is where it gets really interesting, I think.
Well, the source material points to a few key drivers. Top of the list is precision agriculture.
Yeah.
Think of it like this. Instead of just, treating a whole field the same. Precision ag lets farmers target water, fertilizer, pesticides, whatever it is, exactly where it's needed, when it's needed. Cuts down waste massively, boosts yields. It's a game changer.
So super targeted.
Exactly. And then you've got AI-powered analytics. This isn't just about collecting data. It's about using it smartly, predicting the best planting times, maybe foreseeing pest issues, forecasting yields. It's like giving farmers a much clearer view of the future for their crops.
A crystal ball for the fields, almost.
Sort of, yeah. And paired with that is real-time crop monitoring. So instead of just walking the fields now and then, you have constant digital oversight.
Yeah.
Sensors, drones, remote tech.
Okay, so it's moving from being reactive to being predictive.
Yeah.
And from, potentially wasteful to hyper-efficient.
Precisely. It's this whole suite of technologies working together. AI sensors giving incredibly local data, remote irrigation saving water, big data crunching everything from weather to soil.
And you mentioned blockchain too, right? For traceability.
Yeah, that's another important piece. Creating that tamper-proof record. Building trust all the way from the farm gate to the consumer's plate. It's becoming more important.
Interesting. Okay, so with all this growth happening globally, where is it actually, booming the most? Let's break it down region by region, get a bit more granular.
Sounds good. Let's start with North America, a major agricultural region, obviously, and they're adopting these tools fast. The market there looks set to grow from about $9.5 billion back in 2021 to nearly $40 billion by 2033. So a huge expansion, $39.831 billion specifically.
And within North America, I see the U.S. is leading, which isn't maybe a huge surprise, going from about $7.5 billion to over $31 billion.
Right. The U.S. is dominant.
But what's also striking is Canada and Mexico. Canada's growth is rapid, $1.1 billion to nearly $5.5 billion. And Mexico, from under $1 billion to over $3 billion by 2033.
Yeah, it shows it's not just a U.S. story. It's a continent-wide digital push in agriculture.
Okay, let's hop across the Atlantic. Europe, what's the picture there?
Europe's also a strong market, standing at around $6.8 billion in 2021, projected to hit almost $11.1 billion in 2025, and then soaring to over $28.6 billion by 2033.
Okay, significant growth there too. And who's leading in Europe?
Germany and France are definitely the front runners. You see Germany going from about $1.2 billion to $4.7 billion by 2033. France is similar, just under $1 billion in 2021, heading towards $4.4 billion. Reflects their strong ag sectors.
And I see steady upward trends for the UK, Italy, Russia, Spain.
Exactly. But what's quite interesting is the rest of Europe category. That segment alone is projected to hit $5.7 billion by 2033 with a really strong CAGR, 14.65%.
So it's spreading out. Not just the big players.
Definitely. It shows digital farming is really permeating across diverse European agricultural landscapes.
All right, now, Asia Pacific. The report uses the term explosive growth here. Revenue moving from $4.4 billion in 2021 to over $21 billion by 2033. That's a massive jump.
It really is. And what's particularly notable within APAC is India. India actually shows the highest CAGR in the whole region.
Wow.
Yeah, leaping from about $2.7 billion to over $3.7 billion by 2033. It suggests maybe a bit of leapfrogging, adopting new digital tools, perhaps even faster than some places with older established methods.
Interesting dynamic, like skipping a generation of tech almost.
Could be. And then you have China, of course. Huge growth there, too. $1.3 billion up to nearly $6 billion by 2033.
And Japan's not far behind China's starting point, moving from nearly $1 billion to over $4.4 billion.
Right. Major agricultural powers embracing digital. But it's also impressive to see gains in places like Singapore, South Korea, and especially Southeast Asia as a collective bloc. That jumps from $0.4 billion to over $2.1 billion.
Okay.
And the rest of APAC also strong, hitting $1.8 billion with a 15.181% CAGR. So really broad-based growth across Asia.
Okay, let's keep moving. South America, what's the story down there?
South America's digital farming sector is climbing steadily, from about $1.66 billion in 2021, projected to reach over $8 billion by 2033.
Brazil's a big part of that, I assume.
Oh, absolutely. Brazil alone is forecast to contribute nearly $2.5 billion of that $8 billion total by 2033. Started at just over $500 million in 2021.
Significant.
Very. But it's also worth pointing out high growth rates in places like Argentina and Colombia. Colombia, for instance, grows from about $144 million to nearly $740 million.
Wow.
Yeah, shows these digital tools are becoming really vital for efficiency in these key food-producing nations, too. And the rest of South America adds another $3.2 billion.
Got it. Okay, two more regions, the Middle East.
The Middle East market is expanding, too. From $0.9 billion in 2021, expected to reach about $3.34 billion by 2033.
And key players there.
Saudi Arabia looks set to hit about $1.2 billion. The UAE shows rapid growth, too, from a smaller base, around $83 million up to $343 million.
And why is it taking off there? Any specific drivers?
Well, it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Digital farming directly tackles huge regional challenges. Think water scarcity, optimizing yield in very arid conditions. Smart farming is crucial there.
Right, using tech to overcome environmental limits.
Exactly. And you also see Egypt, Qatar, Turkey, and the rest of the Middle East all contributing. That rest of segment hits nearly $0.8 billion.
Okay, and finally, Africa.
Africa's market is projected to rise from a smaller base, $0.45 billion in 2021, but growing significantly to $2.265 billion by 2033. That's a healthy CAGR, too, about 13.6%.
And within Africa?
Nigeria sees a good jump from $91 million to around $447 million.
Right.
South Africa grows from $151 million to nearly $740 million. And importantly, the rest of Africa segment is projected to hit over $1 billion, $1.078 billion.
So real potential there.
Absolutely. It's not just market numbers in Africa. It feels like it's about tackling fundamental challenges. Climate resilience, food security, improving livelihoods for farmers. Digital tools are becoming key across the continent.
Okay, wow. So we've covered a lot of ground, a lot of numbers. If we try and bring it all together, what's the big takeaway? What does this all mean?
Well, the picture is pretty undeniable, isn't it? Digital transformation isn't just like touching agriculture. It's fundamentally reshaping it everywhere.
Right.
And if you connect it to the bigger picture, this data just clearly shows the global farming community embracing a smarter, more connected future. Whether it's AI, sensors, blockchain, it's all geared towards redefining how we grow food, making it more precise, more efficient, hopefully more sustainable and resilient, too.
And that's really why we wanted to do this deep dive, to give you that shortcut, that clear path to understanding this really critical, fast-moving sector. Cut through the noise, get straight to the core insights. So I guess the summary is, it's a massive, undeniable global transformation. Ancient practices meeting brand new tech.
Exactly. And maybe that leaves us with a final thought, something for you, the listener, to chew on. It raises this really important question, I think. How will this digital revolution, how will it not just boost yields or efficiency, but how will it fundamentally change our relationship with food, with its production, maybe even its consumption in the coming decades? Think about how traceable, how transparent, how maybe even personalized our food system could become. What does that actually mean for society?
That's a deep question to end on. Definitely something to think about.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Our goal here is simple. Cut through the noise, give you a really well-informed view on topics that matter. And today, we're diving into the digital farming market. It's evolving incredibly fast. This isn't just fancy new tractors. It's actually changing how we feed a growing world, especially with all the environmental challenges we're facing. So in this deep dive, we're pulling out the key insights from the latest research. We want you to walk away with a clear picture of what's driving this, what the big roadblocks are, and frankly, the trends that are shaping its future. No information overload, just those aha moments.
Exactly. Think of it as a shortcut. We want you to understand what's really crucial in digital farming. We'll connect the dots, help you see the big picture without getting, bogged down in details.
Yeah.
And yeah, everything we're discussing comes straight from solid recent research on this whole area.
It really is fascinating, isn't it? This mix of high-tech innovation and just fundamental necessity. I mean, feeding billions of people sustainably, that's got to be one of our biggest challenges. Okay, let's unpack this a bit. So where do we start? What's really pushing this digital farming revolution forward? I know one big factor is this increasing demand for precision agriculture. But what does that actually look like on the ground?
Right. Well, what's fascinating here is precision ag is shifting farming from guesswork to specifics. It's a science now.
Yeah.
Instead of treating a whole field the same, imagine GPS-guided tractors. They know exactly where to plant, where to put fertilizer,
Okay.
or soil sensors telling you in real time what the nutrient levels are. Drones flying over, checking crop health. Basically, these tools let farmers manage tiny sections, almost down to the square meter.
Wow.
And the core idea, the real insight, is that by targeting inputs, water, fertilizer, pesticides, so precisely, you cut waste way down.
Right, which boosts yield.
Exactly. Boost yield, cuts waste. It completely changes how we think about sustainable farming. It's a whole different level of efficiency.
That does sound powerful. But is it just about farmers buying new tech? Or is there something bigger pushing this along? Because it feels like, governments and maybe broader initiatives must be playing a role too, like smart agriculture programs.
Oh, absolutely. You hit on a really key point. Governments globally are definitely catalysts here. They're offering subsidies, which helps with that cost factor we'll probably talk about.
Uh-huh.
They're pushing digital literacy programs in rural areas, which is crucial. And maybe most importantly, they're investing in infrastructure. Think broadband internet, IoT networks.
That's the Internet of Things, right? Devices talking to each other.
Exactly. The sensors, the equipment, all connected, like a farm's nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
And these government efforts are vital for closing that digital divide, making sure this isn't just for huge corporate farms, but smaller ones too. It speeds up adoption everywhere.
And all this is happening just when we desperately need to maximize yields, right? With climate change making things so unpredictable. How much difference can digital farming really make when the weather itself is becoming so volatile?
That's a really important question.
Yeah.
Because traditional farming, well, it relies on predictability, doesn't it? Stable weather.
Yeah, which we don't have anymore.
Exactly. Unpredictable rain, heat waves, soil getting worse, new pests. It makes farming incredibly risky. Digital farming tries to take some of that guesswork out, using predictive analytics based on all this data and real-time info. It helps manage those risks. It makes farming more resilient. And that's just fundamental for food security, especially with the population growing.
Okay, that makes sense. And speaking of the tech side, we're seeing a huge boom in AgTech startups, right? And a lot of investment flowing in.
Oh, absolutely. The money is definitely flowing. Venture capital, government grants, it's all pouring into this sector.
And what's coming out of that? What kind of innovations?
Well, all sorts. Really sophisticated cloud platforms for storing and analyzing all that data, AI tools that can spot crop diseases or predict yield better than a human often can, precision mapping, mobile apps. Farmers can get real-time insights, plan ahead predictively, right on their phone or tablet sometimes. It's really democratizing access to some seriously advanced management tools.
Okay, so it sounds incredibly promising on many fronts, but like any big shift, there have got to be challenges, hurdles. Let's maybe dig into those now. Where does it get tricky? I'm guessing the cost of all this tech is a big one.
Yeah, that's often the first barrier people mention. And it raises a really important question about scale, about equity. These sophisticated tools, the software, the sensors, they have a high upfront cost.
Right.
And for smallholder farmers, especially in developing regions, that cost can just be impossible.
Right.
So it creates this digital divide. We have this amazing tech, but if only the biggest operations can afford it, its overall impact is limited,
Yeah, definitely. And even if you could afford it, you need to know how to use it. So that lack of digital literacy must be another major hurdle.
It really is. You have many farmers, particularly in, let's say, more remote or less developed areas, who rely on traditional methods passed down for generations.
Sure. Tried and true for them.
Exactly. And they might lack the training or just the resources and support to integrate these new digital tools effectively. It's not just about handing them a tablet. It's about the whole ecosystem of support and training around it.
Okay. And then there's something about the data itself. Fragmentation and interoperability issues. That sounds technical, but what does it mean practically?
It has huge practical consequences. So imagine you have a soil sensor from one company, a drone system from another, weather data from a third,
Right, all different systems.
and often they don't talk to each other easily. They weren't designed to integrate. So the farmer has all this data coming in, but it's stuck in silos. It's really hard to combine it all to get one clear picture of what's happening on the farm.
Ah, I see. So you can't get the full benefit.
Precisely. That lack of standardization, that difficulty in integrating data, it really hampers getting those deep insights and scaling up solutions effectively.
And underpinning all of this, especially for real-time stuff, is connectivity. You need good internet, right? And that's still a problem in many farming areas.
A massive problem. So much of digital farming relies on that real-time data flow. Analytics happening in the cloud, remote diagnostics, downloading updates. All of that needs reliable, reasonably fast internet. And honestly, in many agricultural regions around the globe, that kind of connectivity just isn't there yet. It's patchy, it's slow, or it's non-existent. It's a fundamental bottleneck holding back the full potential, especially in the places that might need it most.
Okay, so significant challenges. Cost, literacy, data integration, connectivity. But despite those, we are seeing some really powerful trends emerging. It feels like the momentum is still strong.
Absolutely. The potential is too huge to ignore, and innovation keeps pushing forward. For instance, AI and machine learning. They're becoming absolutely central to making farming predictive.
How so? What kind of predictions?
Well, really granular insights into crop health, for starters. AI can analyze drone imagery, for example, to spot problems way earlier than the human eye. It's improving weather forecasting at a very local level, optimizing irrigation, knowing exactly when and how much water a specific part of a field needs.
Down to the plant, almost.
Getting closer. And predicting disease or pest outbreaks based on environmental data and historical patterns. The point is, it helps farmers move from being reactive, oh no, I have a problem, to being proactive, using fewer inputs and maximizing output.
And working closely with AI is the whole Internet of Things piece, the sensors you mentioned. That seems to be expanding rapidly, too.
It really is. That nervous system idea is becoming reality. You got sensors in the soil measuring moisture, nutrients, pH, sensors on livestock tracking their health, location, even feeding patterns, drones equipped with multispectral cameras, all constantly feeding data streams back to a central platform, maybe a dashboard on a tablet. This allows for immediate action. If moisture drops too low in one section, the irrigation system can be triggered automatically. If an animal's temperature spikes, the farmer gets an alert.
It's like constant monitoring.
Exactly. A vigilant, always-on early warning system for the entire farm.
Now, another trend that seems to be gaining traction, and this one goes beyond just the farm itself, is blockchain for traceability.
Yes, and this is really driven by consumers. People want to know where their food comes from. Is it organic? Is it ethically sourced? Sustainably grown?
Right, more transparency.
Precisely. Blockchain provides a way to create a secure, unchangeable record of a product's journey. From the seed planted in the ground, through harvest, processing, transport, right to the supermarket shelf.
So you could, like, scan a code on an apple and see its history.
That's the idea. It builds trust. It's especially valuable for things like organic certifications or for exports, where proving origin and practices is critical. It tackles that opacity in the global supply chain.
Okay. And pulling all these different threads together, the AI, the IoT, the data or the digital platforms, and farm management software, it sounds like these are becoming the command center.
That's a great way to put it. They are the command center. These platforms integrate all that diverse data. They give farmers access to everything in one place. Hyperlocal weather, current market prices for their crops, pest alerts tailored to their location, tools for planting and harvest schedules.
All on one screen.
Often, yes, maybe on a phone, tablet, or computer. It puts incredibly powerful decision-making tools right at their fingertips. And this isn't just for huge operations anymore. These platforms are becoming more accessible and are really revolutionizing how farms of all sizes operate. So what does this all really boil down to? I mean, digital farming isn't some sci-fi dream anymore. It's here, it's growing fast, and it is fundamentally changing agriculture. Through AI, through IoT sensors, through blockchain, all these innovations, they're making it possible to grow more food, which we desperately need, but to do it more sustainably and much more efficiently.
It's quite a transformation. Understanding these shifts, I think, is just crucial for anyone who wants to grasp the future of our food supply. It really impacts everyone, right down to what's on your plate and how it got there. It's quite something to see this level of ingenuity tackling such huge challenges.
Definitely. And maybe a final thought for you to consider that you digest all this. Think about those efforts we mentioned, the ones trying to bridge the digital divide, improve connectivity, boost literacy in rural areas.
Mm.
If those efforts really succeed, how much faster could these innovations spread? And what other, maybe unexpected societal changes could come from having truly connected, data-driven farms all across the globe? What does that mean for local communities?
For global food security, it's definitely something worth pondering.